does it separate them? I mean,
it goes into the inside of the combine here. There's a chain here that brings it back. There's a big drum in there that rotates with bars on it, and it rubs against some stationary bars, and that separates the beans from the stalk.
there's a lot that these machines do. I mean,
Press that pedal there.
that pulls it back. All right.
Okay, here's your throttle. And here's your going ahead, and you're gonna start turning that way. Some not too tight, you don't, because with a wide header, you don't need to turn too tight.
Okay.
Okay, then we'll push this button down and forward. Push it down first, and then forward. That turns the header on. Press this button here, it turns the auto steer on. And then press number 2. That takes it down for combine. Now you're all engines. Oh, we are fast. Okay. So now you're combining, Dean.
So Jim, you let me take the wheel here. Are you sure? Are you sure you're going to be all right with this?
Oh yeah.
So when you were telling me back there, you know, you don't have to take as much of a wide turn. So we're coming up to activate all this, and all we did is press a couple buttons, GPS, and it just takes everything over for me.
Yeah.
Almost like I've been doing this for years.
Yeah. People think you're a seasoned farmer.
Right. Now in the back here, and let's tilt our camera here. We've got, so these are the beans right in back of us here, and they look clean. I mean, so the header strips everything off here.
Yeah, if you see the ground, there's no stalk left, and the stalk goes through the combine, and that gets ground up and spread back on the field. It's fertilizer for future years.
Right.
And the bean is what we're saving, and that gets separated with, first mechanically it rubs bar on bar, rubs the beans off the stalk, and then it goes a little further back there. It's called a sieve, where a bunch of air is blowing up through a bunch of, looks like fingers, and the lighter stuff, the pods, they flow through there, and the beans drop between the fingers and go in, and then they get conveyed up here.
Now, all this is run via GPS. Let's say you see something ahead here, whatever it is, big rock or something got in your field for whatever reason. Obviously you can will GPS notice that and maybe lift the header a little bit so it's not going to damage that?
The GPS won't, but the combine header has feelers underneath it or arms that sense, and if it starts riding up on something, it'll lift the header up a little bit so it'll float over it, unless it's really big. But most things are small enough, it goes underneath the header, and as that pushes up on the header, it'll raise the whole header up to go over it. So as long as when it's dry, it's really easy. When it's muddy, it's not quite as fun, but the technology has improved so much since I was a kid.
Over the last 20 years, I mean, because people are driving by, they're seeing all the farmers now out in the field harvesting. It's great to show them what it's like behind the scenes, because they don't know how much work is being done here. But what was this like before GPS, before the automatic steering, and before the advanced equipment? Obviously it took a lot longer to harvest.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, we had one combine with my dad, and a good day we'd combine 30 acres a day. Now we're running 2 combines, and we're doing 30 acres an hour.
Wow.
So it's
that's
about a tenfold increase.
Oh, easily. And that translates to money, you know. I mean, you're gonna, that saves on money as well.
It does, except the machinery is so expensive.
And it kind of offsets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's big productivity on farms has really improved. That's why grain prices are basically the same price as they were many years ago, but that's why we need volume. Farmers are getting bigger is the only way you're surviving. Right. My productivity is getting a little better, but acres really helps a lot. How's
harvest been so far this season? Behind schedule, ahead of schedule, just about on target?
We're getting a little behind schedule now because all this rain that this weatherman keeps bringing. we needed this in September. Our yields would have been better. And then we like it dry here, but
right.
I'd say roughly, I'd say we're about a week behind average.
Okay, so that's not too bad.
No.
That's not too bad.
We still got plenty of time.
Do you risk the header or anything plugging up? I mean, does this, There's so much being thrown into this.
Yeah, it happens off and on. Mainly when the ground's a little wet, it can start pushing real easy, and then you get a bunch of dirt in there, and it bunches the stalks together. Then it'll plug up. But the good thing is it has a feature to reverse itself. You can stop, and then you can reverse it to unplug it. Generally, I mean, sometimes the plug is bad where you have to dig in there, but majority of the time you're able to unplug it with the reverser on the combine.
And how fast are we going here? I'm looking on GPS to...
Right up there at 3.5, but I was going slow just so we had more talk. But
gotcha.
Here's the speed we're usually going, about
5 miles an hour?
5 miles an hour.
Does it matter if you go slower, if you go faster? Does that affect how it's pulling the beans in?
No, it adjusts itself for the speed, but you go about as fast as you got power for normally, and the ground was sliding pretty good there today. The wind really helps us. It keeps the leaves down below dry, so we can slide better when we got lots of wind like this.
So I noticed on the camera here, some of the beans, are they split? Some of them are split, or am I just seeing things?
There might be one here and there, but most of them are small ones that didn't develop. They didn't get enough rain. Then they kind of turn real flat.
And does that get separated?
Not here. I mean, the combine does a little bit, but most of it gets separated at the elevator.
Gotcha.
When the elevator will...
Okay, now we're running to the end here. This is going to...
Slow down a little bit, pull back on the stick there. Then hit number 1. A little harder. Okay, and then you can start your turn. We'll turn around before, I don't know if you want to go another round or do you want to...
we can go another round, yeah. I mean, we've got time.
Okay, first you'll press the auto button there, right now.
Okay.
Then press, no, don't turn the steering wheel, that shuts it off, just auto. And then number 2.
So you're out here all day?
Yeah.
Weather permitting.
We'll hopefully do 300 acres or so in a day.
300 acres in a day?
This field here is 140, so
okay.
To get 2 of these fields done if we don't get any rain. Sounds like a little chance of rain later, supper time or so today?
After about 3-4 o'clock, yeah.
Okay.
So, if necessary, I mean, you guys are you out here overnight?
No, it usually starts getting damp around 10, 11 o'clock, so you usually have to shut down by 9 or 10 on an average day. But with the wind like today, you might be able to run a little later, but then if you're hauling to town, your trucks all get full and there's no place to dump. So plus you got to sleep a little bit so you can go the next day.
So you said this morning when we were talking, or last night, you know, could we get out here in the morning? It might be too damp, even though we didn't have any rain in the forecast. This time of the year, so how you can't have any dew or any moisture on the crops at all while you're harvesting. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. You know, I mean, the dew starts. Usually, it sets in about 7, 8 o'clock at night when the sun gets a little low. It starts setting in, and you could run for an hour or 2. Most days we don't get going until probably 10 or 11. With by the time the dew burns off enough, so it works fine. But like today, the wind, high wind overnight, there wasn't much of a dew like you told me last night, and we got running about 9 o'clock today.
Nice.
Usually, I mean, you could have ran probably at 7 or 8 this morning if you want to do, but by the time you get all the trucks dumped and everything serviced, it's 9 o'clock. I mean, 9's considered an early start like we did today.
Right. Now I've noticed, so like when you're harvesting the corn, I've noticed, especially along the interstate, and I don't know if they do this for a windbreak, but a lot of farmers will leave a couple rows up between the interstate and the field. Is that for a windbreak for snow?
Yeah, it works like a snow fence, okay. And in Minnesota, I think the state government pays the farmers some for that for the snow fence, so they pay them the value of that corn just to try and help so the highways don't have as much snow blowing across them on a major storm unless it's a blizzard.
They do the same here in North Dakota or no?
I'm not aware of the state paying for it, but some farmers might do it out of the goodness of their heart, but it's money out of their pocket, so not too many do it.
Well, Jim, I'll tell you what, this has been a pleasure. This is a first. I get to drive a combine and harvest part of our beans. What are you looking at? I mean, just looking at it at the fields the way they are right now, starting to harvest our bean crop. What are you looking at? What are you thinking in terms of yield? I know we talked a week or so ago. Are you still thinking the same thing, right around Oh, so
It tells the yield on it.
tells you on there.
So we're having about a 55 bushel bean crop here, somewhere around that. It looks good. It's really good for this year for the drought. We were expecting in the 40s. So
How in the world can it tell that? Just by the amount of beans it's picking up?
it's measuring the weight of the crop as it comes into the hopper. It measures the weight of it and translates it to bushels. A bushel of soybeans weighs 60 pounds officially.
Okay.
Okay, now you want to pull back on the stick.